Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Very excited to have George with Humble Road back on the channel. Today he's going to give us a tour of a Ford Transit custom camper van.
Hello Patrick, great to be back on your channel. I just want to tell your viewers, you are a gem, you are a treasure to the RV world. Love your videos. This van, I've been waiting a long time to show you this van. This is called Lightfoot. This is a 250 Transit, Ford Transit. It's the long body, high roof, 250. We call her Lightfoot, and it's for that reason. I don't recommend building on 250s. If you're going to build a bona fide van for full-time life, go to a 350 or a 3500. But we did the best we could here, and I think you're going to like it. Up front, of course, we have the obligatory swivel seat and a lagoon table, and we did a black Formica laminate and we trimmed it in cherry around the perimeter so you can do your laptop work here, you can eat. This is a very comfortable place to spend some time if you're in the van, and I always recommend to people to make use of this space. Don't block it off with a bulkhead and a door. This is a lot of living space in such a small van, right? So you want to use it. And then it tucks out of the way. We size the tables so they tuck out of the way and that they also fit in the doorway so you can work on it. You can raise this up and use it as an additional countertop. Everybody knows how a lagoon works. Second Transit, and also the second time I was able to use a hutch. I love this little concept up front in these vans. I love this additional counter space. You get extra cabinet space over here. And I've got my removable panels in the back so we can continue to run wires and make diagnostic examinations. USB, 120 volt, lights are on dimmers. And our client Stephanie sent us this tile, and she said, I want it in the van so you decide how to use it. So what we decided to do, given the amount of tile we had to work with, we just treated it as a backsplash situation. And I just think it looks beautiful. Isotherm 200. You don't see this very often. This is a short upright. So you've got your fridge freezer side by side. I love it. I think it's great. I think you've got plenty of space on both sides, and it affords you a hutch, an extra countertop. Down here we have a slide out board that lives in a little slot. This is to make the dinette into a twin bed. When Stephanie's sister comes camping with her, she's got a place to sleep. And there's another slot for the lagoon table that would fit right back in there, and then you strap those in place, and that's where they can live. Moving down the line, as I said, Stephanie is going to be traveling as a solo traveler, semi full-time. She's going to ease into full-time living, so we built the van accordingly. So this little dinette for Stephanie and or her sister has a lagoon table, and this would convert into the bed for the sister, and we actually measured the sister so we didn't waste any space. This bed will fit her perfectly with a drop down. You take this out, you put it over there. The other thing you do with this table is you swing it out of the way, and now Stephanie can step up here and back into the bedroom. This is a pretty unique floor plan. We don't have a shower box. We don't have a bathroom box. And look at what that affords you. The room, the spaciousness. It's crazy how big this feels in here, but everything's here. She's got an outdoor shower, which takes care of half of that box. It's no longer here. And her toilet, she's an experienced camper. She's traveling in an Airstream now, which she is going to keep. In fact, Patrick sold it to her. And her toilet, which is a new Trolino, just pulls right out from under the seat. And she's fine with that. Look at this countertop. This is an L-shaped galley, which I love. I've been dying to do this, but I've never had the opportunity. Here it is. And then you can see again how we handle that tile treatment going all around here. And then the lighting. We've got a lot of indirect lighting. Everything's on dimmers. We've got task lighting. Everything in the galley and the hallway are up here. This is a light panel that we make in-house. water pump, and then there's an outside porch light, and then this we call the avocado shelf. This got its name from Irene from Carry On Vagabond. That was my second van build. And she said, could you give me a place to put my avocados? So we built a shelf similar to this in a ProMaster, and the name stuck, and now we do some form of the avocado shelf over the door in every van build we do. So this is the blob. The Ford van has the biggest black blobs of all the vans. And it's now been our mission to disguise them. You can't remove them, you can't cut them. They're part of the airbag system. So in the last van, the Beast, I actually bought the passenger version headliner, which covers the blobs. But then it also comes down to here and cuts off your entrance into this slider area. So we had to modify it. We did a nice job with that. But this time we tried something different. So what we did is we took these black blobs and we filled them with Bondo, and then we wrapped them. We covered them with a fabric that's very close to the original factory fabric. And then we also made panels on the CNC to fit in where we need them. We put in this nice little header out of cherry that goes across on a nice curve. The theme of this van is curves. She's got a touch control reading light right here, obviously for the swivel. The curves continue right through here. These are not concentric curves. If you notice how they dive out differently, we spent a lot of time playing with the CNC to get that curve the way we wanted it. I guess that's for our enjoyment, maybe not yours, but it also opens up your sight lines. The whole van is wide open. Normally, okay, let's just put a wall here. We cut it away, we made these curves, it opens everything up. Got a nice wall cabinet here. Is another way to disguise or bury that blob. I mean, they're massive, those black blobs. So here we just covered it with this. It comes right out to there. And we have a little cabinet here. And then we have a bigger cabinet here. Design detail going down the center of the van, we call the boardwalk. And this is the end result of my running 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch aluminum angle all the way down the van, connecting each roof spreader together to spread the weight that's on the roof. And it works very well. Air conditioner, 2 fans, solar. Then we put the boardwalk in place. We've got 2 Max Air fans, and we've got the Coleman NDQ air conditioner, 13,500 BTU with soft start. It is very quiet. So with a 630 amp hour lithium battery from Lithionics, if you set this air conditioner to low cool and maybe 74 degrees, you'll get 8 hours out of it. Of course, you're going to have to recharge. I'm not saying you'll have anything left, but you can get through a night very comfortably with this setup. I have a 3,000 watt Victron inverter. We could talk about those mechanicals when we get back in the garage. The galley, just love this galley. We always put a cupboard underneath the sink. And in this particular cupboard, I'll show you outside later on what this box is doing here. But you've got a little shelf here for your cleaning supplies or cooking supplies, and then a little deeper spot for taller items. And back in the corner, we have a proprietary, I don't know if you can see that little, that's actually a belt key fob. You know how you see a janitor with a thing on his belt and the keys come out on the steel? Well, instead of using the weight on a sink return, which bangs around, gets caught on things, we use one of those. It works great. This is the Acuva UV and sediment water filtration system. It's a purification system. So we pass through a sediment filter, which is right under here. You change that once every year or so. And then the water with a flow restrictor passes across a UV light. Kills about 99% of all the pathogens. So you cook with this water. You drink this water. This is coming out of our fresh tank. We got 31 gallons of fresh on this van because it's a 250. I'd love to throw 45 or 50 gallons in here, but can't do it. So this is the water you would wash your dishes, wash your hair. You cook and drink this water. I always like to give you a full bank of drawers down the middle of the galley or somewhere, and the top 2 drawers are shorted so we have room for our plumbing, ample plumbing. And then deeper drawers beneath, we have an induction cooktop that you can put out here on the counter. You could also take it outside and cook. We've got outlets outside for that. This area, Stephanie did not want a window here. This was a cargo van and we added the windows. No window here. So what we decided to do is, this is actually a chase for all our wires. So if we need to add or whatever, this chase pops right down and we can get right at it from up here. Like I say, all of my rear panels are removable, and this particular panel reveals my fuse block for the lighting. So rather than send all that wiring over to my main panel, which would create a rat's nest, I send a trunk line over here, nice heavy line, and then we work off of here for all of our lighting. And then that panel removes and goes back into place very easily. You're back in business. I like the sliding doors. We made these little cherry handles in-house, solid cherry. And this is a dull acrylic, a white acrylic. So back to this, we made this little pocket so that Stephanie can put her Cola Vita olive oil and her balsamic vinegar, her bottles of wine. Maybe she likes a little Jack Daniels. We could throw that in there. And basically, on a travel day, you got to stow stuff that's out. You can throw that in here. It's very deep. So that's a really nice feature here. Again, what can I say about this countertop? There's so much room to work. We have a pop-up, that's USB, and then it goes up into a 120 volt outlet for your cooker or whatever else you need it for. I run all the outlets in the van through the inverter, so they are accessible all the time, either when you're plugged into shore power or when you are running off of the battery and the inverter. And that goes right back down. Here, I think this is adorable. Ready? You got a little pantry right there. And then you got another little pantry. This one's for bigger items. Isn't that cute? They're twins. Twin pantries. Bank of drawers. And then over here, I would call these deep clothing drawers. They're massive. So I would use these for clothing. That's for your food. I mean, there's plenty of storage in this van. This is just a nice little detail to have this extra shelf here. It started out as a full giant hutch that I wanted to pull across here to really isolate that bedroom. Didn't work. I didn't like it. So we got down to this. So you can use this space from the kitchen or from the bed. Let me turn on my my accent lights so you can see how nice this looks. There, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So now at night, you would probably turn out all the lights in the van and just leave that on. How beautiful that is. Then when you go to sleep and you want to have all your lights out, then you come over here from the bedroom and you turn on your night light. And you'd be surprised how that lights up this cabin in the middle of the night when you've already got your night vision. So if you need to get up to use the bathroom, you can turn it on, or you can leave it on. Once you go to bed, just turn it on. And it, as well as my bedroom lights, are located right back here in the bed area. That's logical, right? Makes sense. Same thing with the Webasto thermostat. She can access this thermostat from the galley or from the bed. So if she wants to wake up early on a winter morning, hit this to boost the temperature a little bit before she gets up, she's just got to reach over and do it. This is where her head will be. There's a reading light over her head, and we've got a TV on the wall back there. DC TV, so it runs right off of the battery. And then we have a Scirocco Caframo fan in the corner. Now that is set up in such a way that if you have your Max Air fan in the rear on intake and the Max Air fan up front on exhaust, you're going to create this airflow, right? That night air coming down into the van gets blown across with the Caframo. You're going to be looking for a blanket on the hottest nights because you got all that fresh airflow hitting you. If it's no good and you got to go with the air conditioner, it's right here. You've got it. Soft start, which makes a big difference. So the dinette it's really very comfortable. We gave you a little armrest here, a little shelf. You can put stuff. You've got a USB and 120 volt outlet here. So you could even do some work here. If you got tired of using the swivel up front, you can come back here and do some work. You got a nice window right next to you. You could sit in that side and watch TV. The TV comes out on an arm. And then just to get in and out, very simple. What we've taken to doing in these Ford Transits is we make these wall panels when we have windows. We make these on the CNC. They sit flush as far out as they can go on the van. We trim them. And it's a really nice look. And they're on magnets, so we can pull those down if we need to. There's nothing behind them. You know, they're magneted right up to the chassis. But the reason for these, you know, adversity inspires genius. I've always been building for tall people, and I needed to maximize this left to right space, the east-west for sleeping. So I never got an opportunity to build any wall from here. Ford, you can go from here to here and have all this area for insulation, but why would you do that? That's a waste of space. So that's what we have in the bedroom. I've got 2 bookcases up above the rear sliders. And of course there's a little catch lip so that whatever you put in there is not going to fall out. Now this is my baby. I'm always a proponent of using these analog breaker panels from the boating industry. It just makes me feel like I'm on a sailboat again. So we've got this analog breaker panel, AC, DC. Everything's labeled, but then we also have the digital world covered with the Serbo GX from Victron. So this is going to tell me all about my charging, my inverter use, my solar use, my shore power use. You know, shore power is right there. This is your dining room lights right here, and this is a spare. So by the time Stephanie has 6 months travel under her belt, she's going to call me and she's going to say, you know what, George, I'd like this here, I'd like that there. We got that covered. We've ran extra lines in the van, and we've got extra switches here and there, just in case. And we don't know that until the person gets into her living habits in the van. The vans are tailored to the person. So, battery start, switch on and off, very easy. Everything you need to do in the van is right here in terms of the physical plant. This is your fresh water gauge, and it's very accurate. This is your battery gauge, but you don't really need that if you use the Serbo GX. And then over here, these are called spreader lights. These are security lights outside, one on each side, port and starboard. In case she hears something at night, she wants to peek out the window from the bed, switches are right here. She can get at them from everywhere, and she can take a look at what's outside. Always use marine vinyl on the builds. This is a textured beige. I love this texture. It's wipeable, it's cleanable, it's impervious. They use this to wrap the seats in your boat where they bake in the sun for years. And my ceilings are padded, and these ceilings rest on the edge of the boardwalk lip, and then they're screwed into a cleat over there. If I have to drop this ceiling, it's a matter of removing those screws, and it drops. We can get at it. This is the 80-20 that holds up this whole side wall. So what we decided to do with this channel that's facing outwards, I had this little plastic dowel rod made. It's a clear plastic dowel rod. Then we took some Formica. We cut that Formica into a strip that fit in the channel behind the plastic rod. Then we went and got some spray paint that matches the color palette of the tiles. And we laid it out and we went right down the line. So this travels from the blues to the indigos to the greens to the cyans back to the blues. It's the palette in a gentle transition down the line. We put it over here, we put it over there. And now I know you're asking, is there a light behind that? Does it light up? No. And here's the reason. It could be a fault, it could be a virtue of mine. I was a photographer in a past life. I don't like to see the source of the light. I like to see what the light's doing, but I don't like to see the source. Now, obviously, puck lights, you gonna hold me to that? Okay, fine. But you know what I'm getting at. I want it to be subtle. So if you look down here at the floors, this is a bleached cherry. Our cabinets are all cherry. So this is a bleached cherry. And the reason for this is the grain structure is the same as the cabinets would be. But this is a vinyl click lock floor. It's water resistant. And under this floor, I've got 1 inch of polyiso foam insulation on the van floor. And what I do, I'm a big proponent of this theory. You know, the van floor is scalloped, so you have high and low spots. You've got hills and valleys. I keep those valleys open. I want airflow under this floor. No mold, no mildew, no moisture buildup. Airflow under the whole floor. My side walls and my ceilings are all triple insulated. I use 3 layers of Thinsulate, and I use a layer of Reflectix. So what happens is there's a layer of Thinsulate, then a layer of Reflectix, then 2 more layers of Thinsulate, then the wood and the vinyl. So you got a great insulative package here. I've got a Roll-F screen, custom made for this van. Every Roll-F I send them the measurements, and they do a wonderful job on the screens. Now out here, remember me talking about that pass-through. Look at these little doors, aren't they cute? So this is a little cooking station for outside. You can pass through from either side, inside or out. And then we have a drawer down here to put any more of your utensils for cooking outside. Then you pull it out further and you have a little cooking station right here. And then if you need something in the drawer, you just pull this up and you get at it. A little light over top for nighttime. It's a really nice cozy light. I think I would want to see a bottle of wine and a couple of glasses here. We have our Humble Road exclusive 80/20 running boards running the full length from the passenger door all the way down across. Up top, this is the porch light I spoke about. This is from Black Oak. Excellent company for LED products. I really like their stuff. So that's a porch light. Above that we have a Fiamma awning, the F45, and it is a manual awning. Just crank it open. Coming down the line we've got motion windows, and they all open. These are little bed windows that open. And I've got my spreader lights. Up here you can see one of these spreader lights, the security lights I talked about, that you control from inside. So in the garage, this is really my favorite place. I always like to hang in the garage at home too. This is her storage space right here. She's got her little shelves in here that we built a long time ago. And her folio, these are all her owner's manuals. We put those in a little folio for her. This is the gym floor that you would see. We have this in the back of the van. You can take it out to wash it and put it back in. This is ABS, protecting the water tank. This is our little sight tube when you're filling the water tank back here. This is our fill spot. This is the A-core. We're using it in reverse. This is usually a hose bib on the side of your house, but we're using it to fill the van with fresh water, and it has a valve on it. This is our vent. So this light, I don't know if you can see it down there. When you turn that on, you can see the light. And then we have a garage light that can go on. It's very effective at night. Right now it's pretty bright, but it's up in here. And then of course our bed boards are all removable. We do it in thirds, and they are all ventilated. We put them on the CNC and cut those ventilation holes. It takes away some weight and it adds that ventilation you need so you don't get mildew and moisture. Over here we have my bike rack. Stephanie's got a mountain bike. So this comes all the way out. She'll be able to lift this bike off. This is my awning crank. She'll be able to lift that bike right off and onto the ground. We could not do the fork mount or the down tube clamp until she comes with the bike. So when she arrives later today, we'll have this all set up for her. Ditto on the fabrics. If you look at our door panels here, we just have the masonite panels waiting for her to choose one of the fabrics I purchased. And as soon as she chooses which one she likes, John will go in the back and wrap these panels while I'm giving her orientation up front. And we'll get that done. They're all tailored. Everybody's different, right? And then back here, she's got a nice big storage bin and an ammo box. And then that reveals all of the breaker panels. This is Command Central. Here's my water manifold and my water pump, fully accessible. All of my zones, I can shut off any one of these zones of water. We have an outdoor shower. We also have the sink up front. That tank up there is my glycol tank. I pump my glycol up front when you start the engine, and it picks up heat from the chassis glycol, brings it back into my water heater, my isotemp water heater, 4.2 gallons of hot water. It brings back the water very hot, very hot. You can temper it here at the water heater, or you can temper it at the faucet. I've got my shutoffs, 300 amp fuse, 250 amp fuse for the multi-plus 2 inverter. I've got a shore power shutoff, all my breakers for solar, and my DC to DC chargers. Back in the corner there, those 2 blue boxes on the bottom are the Orion chargers. Those are 30 amps a piece. When you start the engine, they're charging this van. This van does not have the second alternator, so we're limited to 60 amps of charging off the battery. And then above that is the solar controller. As I said, we've got 400 watts on the roof, so it's 2 panels on each side. So I ran the 2 panels in series, then brought them down in parallel. Back here we also have another roll-F screen, and because this van does not have a rear window, I suspect she's just going to leave it like that, because you're not going to gain any air or light unless you slept with your doors open, which I don't think she's going to do. Outdoor shower right here. And then, of course, down here you put your shampoo and your cream rinse. If you don't have cream rinse, you want to use conditioner, you can put that in here too. And then the shower rods just Velcroed in place here. And over here we put this one on a little cherry standoff. So you would put the rod together like this, and the shower curtain's inside. You would Velcro your shower curtain on, and you've got a nice private shower in the back of the van here. We put the Velcro on because we learned that people tend to slam the doors. When you slam the door, this pipe pops out of the clip. So we put the little Velcro on it to keep it in place. Around this side, we have our shore power. This is a smart plug, very, very good plug for shore power, 30 amps. Further down, we've got our gray water evacuation right there on a flexible tube. In case anything hits it, it's not going to snap it, crack it, or break it. And then more of our Humble Road exclusive running boards. And then coming around this way, I want to show you the other part of the hot water system. So what we do is, this is a coolant line that comes right off the heater box. We cut it and we tee off of that. We send one line this way and it returns here back into its travel on the chassis. And we have a shut off here. So what we've done now is we've shut off the glycol in the chassis from continuing on with this off. Now that chassis glycol goes down here to another set of shut-offs on a manifold. Then it continues to my heat exchanger, where that's where we pick up the heat to make our hot water. Then that chassis glycol comes back this way and resumes on its way. If there was ever a failure or a problem with the system under the van, you just turn this one on, turn those two off, and you're on your way. You haven't lost anything. And we gave Stephanie's van a little attitude. We gave her a little bull bar and a light bar so she can turn this on while she's pulling into a campground at night. And what we did on the front here is we got a product called 3M Smash Film. And this allows you to have an additional layer of security in the van. It's on the windshield, it's here, and it's on the main window. And you can smash this with a hammer. And the window, the glass itself, will turn to chiclets. But you will not get in. That film is still going to keep you out. It's going to just deter. I mean, we saw a video of a guy hitting it a dozen times, and he still couldn't get in. He gave up and left.
George, thank you very much for taking the time today to give us a tour of this awesome camper van creation. I love how open this floor plan is without the shower box. What are your thoughts on that?
I was always a proponent of having an indoor shower in the van. I had a Pleasure Way Plateau. I loved it. I had that shower. I took a shower every day in there. I loved it. But I realized when I started building vans how much it's a space hog. Those bathroom boxes are a space hog. And you can see what the alternative is. Now, what do you do about a shower? You know, you want a nice, I want a nice shower. Well, the outdoor shower takes care of that for me. You can put up that curtain. It gives you a nice big area to take a shower. I'm not worried about privacy or anything like that. Even in inclement weather or cold weather, you can run out there and take a shower and come back in. That adds to the adventure.
George, looking forward to having you on the channel again. This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us.